The High Court in Pietermaritzburg will make a ruling on the matter at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Let's unpack this now with legal expert Tyrone Maseko. Tyrone, thank you so much for your time. What are the issues that Judge Piet Koen has to consider this evening?
Good evening, Sally, and to the viewers at home. I don't think this one is a particularly difficult one because what's happening is not new. We're used to AVI. I mean, this is conducted on a daily basis in our lower courts, even in our high courts these days, where accused people appear in court in criminal proceedings by way of video technology. So I'm not quite sure why this argument is being made, because I'm not particularly clear that there is any prejudice that Jacob Zuma is suffering, other than to say that, well, in terms of the law, an accused has to be in court when they're prosecuted, so we cannot prosecute people in absentia. But you've got to be careful with that. I mean, this is not a trial in absentia. Jacob Zuma is participating in the proceedings, able to follow the proceedings. So I'm not entirely clear exactly what the issue is, substantially what the issue is by the defense team.
So the Constitutional Court still has to decide on Zuma's application for a rescission of their judgment. If they grant that, he will actually be out of court. Is that why Dali Mpofu wants a 3-week postponement?
Two things. If you do that, then you are preempting the decision of the Constitutional Court. There's nothing to suggest that the Constitutional Court is in fact going to rule in Zuma's favor. So to hit your bets on that ruling, I don't think is a useful strategy. I can appreciate and understand that for his defense, it is difficult for them to consult with him in custody, but there's nothing new and there's nothing novel in that regard. Many people are remanded in custody and their counsel have to consult with them. In fact, in this instance, they've actually gone over and above what the average accused would be entitled to, and in fact actually does receive. They've got unlimited time to consult with him in whichever manner they want to, by telephone, video, and in-person visitations. So I can't really see the prejudice. The 3-week thing, well, it could be. Look, we're speculating now, but it could very well be that they actually need more time to prepare for this thing. I'm not sure why. I mean, remember, Sally, that the nuance issue here that we're dealing with is not the trial itself. So it's not dealing with viva voce evidence of witnesses. Right now, the directives only relate to this very, very small issue of the special plea. That is what is being debated. Should that be conducted with Jacob Zuma in court? I'm not quite sure what difference it makes whether he's following it on video or is actually presently in court. They can take instruction one way or the other. So I don't see what advantage the 3 weeks, even if they were to get the 3 weeks, really is not going to make any difference.
There was some talk today, and this is where you'll have to guide me, that Zuma actually wants to testify on this particular matter. But then there was also a suggestion from the state that actually, no, what he wants to do is cross-examine Billy Downer. I mean, could that be the reason?
Even if those were the reasons, on those versions, and we'll deal with both, on those versions, there isn't any scope for him. There is no necessity for him to be present in court. So let's deal with the first one. Jacob Zuma wants to cross-examine Billy Downer. There's got to be an issue. Okay, let's start here. The matters at the moment are being presented, the issues being dealt with on paper. So it's an application to expedite matters. And the reason, and I accept that this is technical law, the reason is simply because there is no dispute of fact. There's no substantive dispute of fact that requires oral evidence on this particular issue. We're not dealing with the trial now, the main trial, just on this issue of whether Billy Downer has legal standing or not. That issue can be decided purely on paper. And so there is no reason for cross-examination, unless you want to grasp at straws and raise nebulous issues that really do not arise, and I have not seen them so far. So the prospect of that, just to me, simply does not exist. Other than that, what is the other issue? Sorry, Sally, you mentioned something.
I'm so confused. I've almost forgotten. But basically, it's whether he wants to cross-examine Billy Downer. Yeah.
Dealt with it in that there is no dispute of fact. So the entitlement there has to be a dispute of fact. So there must be an issue on which, if the issue is purely a legal issue, we accept all the facts leading up to it. So we accept that here's this certificate issued by so-and-so. then that is not disputed. If there is not a dispute, even if there were a dispute, actually, you can produce paper affidavits, you can produce certificates and the like to show that actually this is the case. There is no reason to cross-examine people here. We're not talking about an incident where there were eyewitnesses and the only evidence the only way that the evidence can be admitted is through viva voce evidence. That is not the issue here. So then the prospect of cross-examination does not arise.
What do you, so, in a nutshell, what do you think is going to happen tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock and why?
If I'm really, really honest, and this is decided on law only, Judge Kuhn really should dismiss this application and simply, and I'll tell you why, sorry to take a bit of your time. The problem is that they've already argued, actually, the Jacob Zuma's team, they've already argued their case. What really should happen now is that Billy Downer's counsel should now, now has an opportunity to respond to what they've said. And the only other opportunity that they're going to get is to reply to that. So there is no scope for viva voce evidence in that process. Remember the last time they appeared that they actually did advance the argument that they were asked to be very careful because Billy Downer couldn't respond because he's a participant in that. So that process already happened. The plea has already been raised.
All right. Well, we'll have to wait till 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. You reckon it's very likely that the judge will dismiss. Thank you so much for your time this evening, legal expert Tyrone Maseko. Still to come.